What is up, everybody? Thank you very much for tuning in, and welcome to the first episode of the brand new Warcraft 3 podcast called Fast Expand. My name is Kendric. I'll be here every single time, just like my good friend Rehcram, who's going to be our co-host for all these wonderful episodes to come. It's actually good to see him and good to hear him in real life because we've been chatting with each other for such a long time without even knowing what the other one sounded like. With us, of course, as well is going to be our special guest for the first episode, none other than the legendary orc player himself, KnOfF, man. KnOfF, good to see you. How are you guys doing? Let's start off actually with Rehcram. Tell us a little bit something about you, who you are, what you do, and why you love Warcraft 3 so freaking much.
Yeah, who am I? I'm just a guy that stumbled into Warcraft a couple of years ago, and then I pretty much started producing content for Warcraft3.info immediately because that was the first. David, who's the owner of the site, is the first person who took contact to me after I joined the scene. And then I'm just spending way too much time on the internet and watching streams. Well, I'm pretty poor at the game myself, to say the least. But we are getting there.
I think you're underselling your value a little bit, but so you said you were a writer at Warcraft3.info. Great resource, by the way, for all things Warcraft 3. If you're looking for news, builds, replays, most importantly, you should definitely check that website out if you haven't done so. Thank you, by the way, live in person now, I can finally say this as well, for providing me with all the juicy replays for countless videos and content out there. Let's move on to our special guest and recent Fight Night participant, KnOfF, man. It's good to hear you again. We've had our interview before, and it was a pleasure to cast you against Neutron the other day. How have you been, and what are you up to these days?
Well, first of all, thanks again for the opportunity. It was
a pleasure,
awesome,
man. A pleasure.
And really enjoyed watching the VOD afterwards as well. Like to see how you guys were commentating, and you two make a perfect team for it. So
Thank you. Great. It means a lot.
And especially it's something, since I'm an orc player and Grubby is orc player as well, that's
he would say he's not an orc player anymore. He plays every race.
yeah, that's true. But his main orc, and it's always gonna be, I guess. I have been working in my new company since then. I actually started this Monday, so I'm working in the fitness industry, but with my own company now. Gonna try to stream more Warcraft soon again, but need to get going with that in the beginning. So
can you tell us more about that? Are you're a personal trainer, or what exactly do you do in the industry?
Yeah, exactly. I have been working as a personal trainer and PT manager, so I help other trainers to get their business going. I have been around in the business for around 6 years now, so I felt it was for me a good way to take the next step,
right?
To do it on in your own way. So I'm cooperating with another gym now in Uppsala, pretty close to where I live. So that's my goal, to get going there with helping companies and other persons to improve health and achieve their goals.
What about the gaming eSports industry? You having any plans of maybe telling gamers or developing programs like how to increase their health? Because I mean, we're sitting in these freaking chairs for hours, man.
Yeah, actually, that has been a dream for me to help other gamers and streamers with their nutrition and training. So I will tell you guys more about this in the future. But right now I'm helping out a little bit some people. My goal is to make plans, and like both in nutrition and also training, and how you can think and what you should do at the gym and also with the nutrition. So it's going to be really great. And I think a lot of gamers, I do play a lot myself, so I know how important it is also to work out. Maybe not the gym only, but I mean to do something for the mental and also the physical health. So I think it's a really big part of improving as a player as well. And I have been watching a lot from like the professionals in Counter-Strike and other games too, and many of them seems to be in a lot better shape than they did a few years ago. So I think it's kind of changed, like the way professionals in the esports are looking like right now. So I think it's a big bonus that many take care about their health as well. So yeah.
Yeah, I think it's crazy if you look at some of the really popular and really big esports athletes, whether it's in Counter-Strike or League of Legends. Oftentimes the teams have personal trainers. Oftentimes these guys need that as a balance because they're practicing 8-10 hours a day, and then they just need to move and exercise. So I think that's only the tip of the iceberg right now, what we're seeing. So
I agree. It's going to be cool to see how that develops as well.
Yeah.
I mean, the esports industry is so awesome in many ways. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's growing and branching out in so many different directions, like, the aspects about nutrition and moving and mental health. And then, of course, what's the best way to practice. They're trying to optimize their routines there. But yeah, Rehcram, so tell us a little bit more about what you do when you're not playing Warcraft 3 or when you're not, moving on in the internet.
Yeah, well, in my everyday, I'm part-time studying and part-time working. So I am working with construction and like the strategic part of construction. So that's everything from like renovation and energy optimization, which is like a really big part of it now.
Nice.
Yeah, and then studies and like finishing them in January, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. Yeah.
So sick. And I think you once showed me, like, you like to paint and draw. Is that correct?
Yeah, well, it's a thing I used to do a lot, but since I, moved out and life happened, so it's only once in a while now. But, yeah.
I know that feeling, man. One of my big passions is to assemble and paint miniatures, like Warhammer figures and all that stuff.
Sure.
But man, ever since I started working in esports and all that and streaming, I just usually end up dead and tired at the end of the day, and I can't even get to it. There's so much garbage in my apartment now that I haven't even touched yet.
Yeah, it's hard to find space for it. I also play music now, so that takes a bit of the physical space out.
Dude,
stuff like painting that takes so much.
Warcraft 3 is a cruel mistress. It requires a lot of time. It won't let you go that easily. And yeah, I know that you, at least, KnOfF, you also stream. So you're a fellow streamer. Let's just sell out right off the bat, before we dive into any other topics. Where can people find you on Twitch if they decide, that guy's pretty cool, and I liked his play at Fight Night 2, and I want to watch this guy a little bit more?
Yeah, at Twitch, I'm at KnOfF_Swe. So yeah, I also have an Instagram and a Twitter account. I think my Twitter account is the same as.
Yeah, we got it on the screen actually. Our Twitters.
Yeah. See, that's perfect. So, and I'm always trying to post on Twitter when I'm streaming. So if you follow me on Twitter, you will be able to catch all my streams.
Perfect. And I can tell from my own experience that it's definitely worth it. You should definitely check it out. So yeah, let's actually move on to the very first and very big topic that we want to talk about here on today's episode of Fast Expand, and that is the fight night that went down. The last fight night. The new one is coming up next Friday. But the last one was probably, in my personal humble experience and opinion, the coolest one we've had so far for many reasons. And I don't want to take anything away from the other players, but I think you guys, you and Neutron, KnOfF, you fought so hard. It was a nice rivalry between the two of you because of the interviews and everything Neutron said about you. And then it was just a nice storyline, Neutron underestimating you a little bit. Saying that It's going to be an easy 3-0, and Spiral was much stronger. And then you saying apparently that he was overrated on stream. So yeah, it was a close one. We're not going to. I guess it's okay to spoiler it. It was a very close 3-2. Most people should have actually watched it by now, anyways. And even if you haven't and know the result, it's still worth going back and checking out the games because they were so close and so unexpectedly close, you should say. But yeah, KnOfF, tell us more about how the fight night went from your perspective. Were you feeling super well on that day? Were you preparing a lot on Neutron's playstyle in particular? What made you play much stronger than many people had expected?
I believe the preparation is, of course, really important. And I mean, I wanted to do a good show this time. So what I did different, which I normally don't do nowadays because I'm, playing most for fun, is that I write down all the maps in the map pool and try to write down my most common mistakes and all the openings on every map, so I know exactly how to play from the beginning till the end of the game. So I had a really clear game plan on what to do and when to do it, and it worked out really good. There was some situations where I could have done different, but if you look to the whole series, I'm really satisfied, and I was playing a really good game. So yeah, it was great, and as I said, for me, preparation, to have a good game plan, that's basically it, and try to not to change so much from it.
What exactly did that game plan or that preparation have? What did it look like? Were you just watching a lot of replays? Were you watching the stream of Neutron, perhaps, or any details about that? Like, how do you prepare?
Yeah, mostly replays, yes, from like NetEase, and I have been watching Hitman a lot because Hitman, he has
Also played in
a
Fight
lot
Night?
yeah, but mostly in general, like his replays and watching his stream, because he do have very good openings. So I try to copy some from him and try to improve and see what he's what's his mistakes and try to not do the same. So yeah, and also I watch my own games, especially if I have been playing against Neutron. I mean, then I try to analyze the games and see what I could have done different, and then I write it down so I won't do it again, because this is a problem that I would say many people that are playing Warcraft 3, they keep doing the same mistakes over and over, and that's why they're not improving. You need to be sure that you don't do the same mistake, and then you will keep improving. And this is I remember back in the days when I was practicing a lot against Grubby, for example, and I always write down from every game that we played, like my common mistakes and what I could have done different in every situation in the match. So it's a tip that I got from other pro players, and I have been trying to develop myself. But I mean, as I said, I play mostly for fun now, so I haven't been really doing this as much as I did back in the days, because I remember when I won a DreamHack in 2008, a pretty big LAN in Sweden. Then I brought my own book. It was like 10, maybe 15 pages of all my strategies and common mistakes. So it was against Lil DC in the finals, and yes, he's
The French
also
powerhouse?
no, he's Swedish. He's Swedish as well.
Kendric accidentally said that in one of his broadcasts.
Oh, okay. Oh,
If Lil DC ever hears that, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to.
I think it's okay. I mean, he looks a little bit French, maybe. Yeah, but that was kind of, I mean, it's a strategy game we play, so it's super hard to have everything in your head, But if you do look at your notes and try to avoid your mistakes and have a really clear game plan on what to do, then it's very different. So for someone out there who want to take their gameplay to the next level, I would say this is a very good tip to get better.
Yeah, it's oftentimes not enough to just grind games, you know, to just go like from game to game without really reminiscing and trying to really focus on what went wrong or what went well. I think a lot of players who play many games but still find themselves in the same league or in the same tier of the ladder than before, they kind of don't make that extra step, you know, like you said, writing things down or watching the replay, you know, of the previous game, something like that. Yeah, Rehcram, anything you wanted to tell KnOfF or ask KnOfF about the fight night from 1 week ago?
I don't really have any questions, but I want to point two things out that like
Cool.
stood out to me. First was on the Twisted Meadow, where Neutron made like a questionable drive change from his huntresses, and then it was just really cool to see how he punished it with like moving all in with the demolishers.
Yeah.
It was
That was my favorite game too.
yeah. I mean, it's very easy when you see the game to say like, okay, Newton he made a mistake, but like to take the lead and see that you can punish this mistake is something that's really cool to me. The second thing is the last fight in the last game, where I think you started at the shop on Northern Isles, the fight, and then you kited all the way back to your expansion to get like the little choke you made with the expo. It's really cool to see that you have like the presence to know that, okay, I don't have to take a fight here because I already have my expansion, so I can kite back and wait till I have the best possible position to fight in. While it of course didn't turn out the way you wanted to, I think it's something that like shows that you had your head in the right place, and that's cool to see.
Yeah, actually, what you mentioned, I remember the, let's say, 3 minutes in the game where I took one fight at my expand. It was really good, but then I was trying to get the shop control again, and I went way out, far away from my base, and Neutron was already there, and that was where I lost the game. So what I should have done there is just be a little bit more passive and try to restore my mana on my heroes, and because I had my expo up, so there was no hurry. But the shop control is so important when it's only one shop, so I thought I could get there in time, but then it was already there. But yeah, it was one fight where I had a lot of lightning shields, and it was in a choke there, as you said, so that was the perfect place for me to fight. Yeah.
At that last moment on Northern Isles, when you went out of your expansion and just saw him at the shop, yeah. I wasn't sure when I casted that, because most of his units were hidden. They were cloaked, you know. And did you actually see the units, or did you just see a hero, or just the heroes? Do you remember?
I don't really remember exactly. I guess I saw the heroes and then all the army, but
yeah. Because it looked like you just saw the keeper or maybe the second hero, and you were like, okay, he's just buying items, and then all the hunters and all like they came to vision.
I remember I was a little bit panicking there because I did some lightning shield, which was really bad. That
on the Shadow Hunter.
Yeah. What was that? I don't know. Like, I think I was probably trying to use some item, or because what I remember, I did have a lightning shield picked up as well from the map. So I think probably I had it on some inventory on my hero, and then I used it on the Shadow Hunter. It was probably supposed to be healing salve or something like that, not the lightning shield. That's what I think, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I guess when you play in the game 5 and the whole series has been a freaking nail biter, then you get really nervous and you tend to freak out over many things that you normally wouldn't freak out of. So, but yeah, Grubby made some really interesting comments too during the cast. Like he said, or he praised your early game execution, like your first 10 minutes. He said the builds were crisp, super clean. Your grunt movement was excellent. You didn't really lose anything to the keeper like ever. So that was really good. But then he mentioned that the late game fight control was a little bit wonky, especially the shamans. So he said something like, if you played the first 10 minutes of every orc game and he played the last 15 minutes, you would never lose.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. All right. So yeah, Rehcram, next matchup. Tell me your thoughts about the next fight night and what you think of it.
Yeah, it's definitely I was playing Neutron, challenging him. Actually, I haven't seen Death Note play much against Night Elf, I think. But I know he's super solid. He's been like in top 5 netties like the last.
He's grinding like crazy, man.
Yeah, he is. He switched from Battle.net to netties full time, I guess you would say. So yeah, I'm super excited for it. I also think it'll be very even, from what I can tell. But it's definitely an exciting matchup.
What do you think about it, KnOfF?
I mean, I don't watch many players that not playing Orc, you know. So I'm not really sure, but I have been seeing that human do a lot better against Night Elf than before. I guess this patch have been changing the matchup a little bit. So I guess Death Note will have a better chance, so to say. Still think it's going to be really tough for him since Neutron has been playing a really solid game. But from what I know, for example, when I've been talking with Grubby, I know he has a better win ratio with human than Orc against Natebu. Neutron, I mean. So I do believe that matchup has been changing a little bit. So
it's so crazy. It's so crazy, isn't it? Like in the interviews, I recorded both interviews already, but they're not online yet. But I guess I can spoiler a little bit. Both said that the other race was stronger. So Death Note was saying Night Elf is still pretty OP against human. And then Neutron said that human is actually looking much better now against Night Elf than before. And then I watched Grubby stream yesterday, and he was saying a little bit more. He was going a little bit more with Neutron, saying that human might very well just even be the strongest race in the game right now. I know Todd is somewhere going to get freaking epiphany, and he's like, oh, what? Nani? Someone said human is best race, but what do you think about that?
I don't think human is the best race right now. I think it's kind of equal, to be honest. I still believe Night Elf has a little bit advantage since they are still overrepresented in all tournaments, etc. But I do feel it's really balanced right now, so I'm not gonna complain about anything here. And what I can say more about it is probably some matchups. One of the races have a little bit advantage, but not more than that.
Yeah,
or
I
resident
agree.
human.
I think sorry, what was that?
You're the resident human, right? The human player in this round.
The resident human, yeah. But if I look at my own stats, then human versus human is totally imbalanced because I lose way more against human than I should. So, but I feel like when you look at the stats, it's quite even overall. Orc had some problems against human, for example, but now they turned the tides. Recently, we visited the stats, and Orc has actually found a way to, like in the last month and a half, they've had a positive win rate against human. And it's kind of the same against Night Elf too. Like it's around 50% on the rest of the matchup. So that's great to see. I think it's a pretty healthy, like overall balance we have right now, and it's nice to see that things are shaking up.
Yeah.
Like in Night Elf versus human, we see a lot of different heroes from the Night Elf. Some players play like Demon Hunter exclusively, and someone on the Warden train if they can get on the good maps for it. And of course, Keeper is still, a decent choice, while some may disagree with that. But yeah, I think it's a pretty decent matchup, human versus Night Elf.
Yeah, I guess there's a little bit of controversy about the undead versus human matchup. A lot of humans are complaining. But as you said, KnOfF, I like that a lot, actually, what you mentioned, that every race seems to have this one matchup where they're doing a little bit better tendency. They do a little bit better than against others. And I think as long as it's just that way and we don't have 1.30, relationships where Night Elf just dominates everybody, I think it's fine, when you have a slight grudge match against some races, because it also always creates this, I feel like, when from a viewer's or caster's point of view, this storyline of, oh man, normally this race doesn't do well against that race necessarily, but maybe that player's gonna outdo himself or herself, and then they're gonna just show us the strongest play ever. And I think it's a nice little extra touch to it when sometimes a certain race is quoted to be the slight underdog. I think it adds a nice little value to it. Yeah, good balance according to you guys. I like it. Something else we should probably mention about the upcoming fight night, which by the way will take place next Friday, between Death Note and Neutron, is almost similar to KnOfF and Neutron, the relationship between the two. Neutron was saying that he wanted to play against Death Note, actually. He was saying, I want to play that guy, because there was a little bit of a verbal altercation, if you will, after some of the games. Death Note apparently didn't say nice things to Neutron. Even in the interview on HeroesHearth, he said that many people called Neutron Petchtron when Night Elf was so strong. 1.30. So I think it's going to be a heated battle for sure. Going to be very nice. Yeah, guys. So we're going to move on here. We're going to slide the arrow a little bit further to the right. By the way, where the arrow is, I think it's self-explanatory, but just in case some people ask us in the YouTube comments, and I'm pretty sure they will, we're always talking about the topic where the white arrow down there is. So pay attention, and it's going to make it a little bit easier for you to follow. Man, that's a big one, guys. Warcraft 3 Reforged. Many things have been said lately. Opinions were exchanged on Reddit, Twitch channels, online forums, wherever. I want to talk to you about, just in general, what your thoughts on the current state of the game are. Which part of the people you represent with your opinion? Do you think, are you skeptic? Are you cheerful? Are you optimistic? There hasn't been an announcement really since last BlizzCon where they showed the campaign mission. It was playable too. I played it. The Back to Warcraft guys played it. But ever since then, we haven't even seen the Night Elves, right? There hasn't really been any major footage of the Night Elves, so they're missing. What is your current take on the state of the game?
I think like the gameplay in itself, I'm not too personally excited about. Wouldn't say I'm a skeptic towards it, but I'm pretty content with the current version of Warcraft we have. So I'm more looking forward to the things that comes with the new graphics. So a bigger player base, a new matchmaking system, and more content creators out there. Mm-hmm. So that's the primary things I look forward to. And regarding they had a Night Elf art, before the arts on their website, but they pulled it down for some reason. Mm-hmm. I think it was because they had the Dark Ranger instead of an archer or something like that. But it looked good, the bit we saw.
Yeah. KnOfF, what do you think?
Oh, this is a hard question.
Just some general thoughts, and then we're going to go more into detail.
Yeah. Well. First of all, I'm really forward to it. It's going to be great when the games come out. I think Blizzard is going to do a great job here. From what I've seen from the first gameplay, it looks, super cool. And I can't really wait for it to be released. And as well, I think it's going to be a super big impact on Warcraft, the scene in general. At least that's what I hope. But since the scene has been really growing with all the tournaments, the teams, all new players that are coming back, and even players that has been playing on a professional level before. A good example now is Madfrog coming back. We have a Czech from Korea. We have Chinese players. There are so many pros that are coming back, and I feel it's just gonna continue to grow. And Blizzard, they are known for making good games, in my opinion. So it's gonna be great, and I can't really say more than that right now. That's my general thoughts, I guess.
Yeah, some people are concerned, I guess the people that are skeptic for the most part, that they haven't heard much, or we haven't heard much about, new updates, gameplay videos, trailers, something along those lines. So it could mean that Blizzard is just simply doesn't have the content. But what I personally think is more the case is that they're going to save the big reveal for BlizzCon, which happens in roughly a month from now, and I'm pretty sure that they're working their asses off on the project right now, and that they don't want to raise any false suspicions or any bad expectations, because we can't forget that I think Warcraft 3 is a masterpiece. We all agree on that. It has been such a great game for so many years and still is. It has shaped so many other titles as well. The hero system even brought a freaking new genre on the market, the MOBA market, or the MOBA genre. So I think they're working really hard on not disappointing the fans and not really tainting the image of Warcraft 3, which I think is a masterpiece.
Yeah. Agreed. I can't tell you why we haven't heard more, but I hope that like when it comes, it won't just be live on servers. I hope there'll be like something at BlizzCon or like a special tournament organized for it, so we like get a good launch of for the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And I really hope this BlizzCon is just going to be the big explosion, where they're going to say something like, by the way, next week you can start entering Azeroth again or something like that. I'm sure we're going to get something like that. I really think it's not that far away anymore. Something else I want to talk about when it comes to Reforged is that you mentioned it, KnOfF, a lot more content creators, streamers, YouTubers, and other people involved. They will come back and they will check the game, even if it's just for the first week or so, to play the campaign and stuff like that. But I think Twitch numbers are going to be exploding for the first month even. What do you think? How important is that, first of all? And do you think there's going to be many more people watching? Or do you think it's more like a false hope and you don't think so many people are going to watch it on Twitch?
I think it will be, like you said, I mean, a lot of players coming back and also a lot of new people. I mean, Blizzard, they have super nice games. I mean, just look at what happened to World of Warcraft, the classic version.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And I don't know how many players that are playing Warcraft 3 right now, but I mean, it can't get worse, right? So I do. It's gonna be super cool when the games come out, and I mean, for me, it's just you can see, like I said earlier, all the tournaments and new teams coming, and a lot of people want to see more from Warcraft. So I believe when Reforged hits and they arrange like new tournaments and maybe some new sponsors come into the game as well. That's gonna be different. It's gonna be super cool to see how it changes the game.
I wouldn't even be surprised when we see 50K, 100K viewers for the first couple of weeks on Twitch. And I love the comparison to Classic WoW as well. I mean, even now that it's been out for almost a month, I would say, the viewership is still crazy. And so many people are still playing Classic. And I think it's still more subscribers in WoW that are playing Classic right now than the retail game. So, any features, Rehcram or KnOfF, that you really want to see in Reforged? Rehcram, you said something about online multiplayers, Battle.net features.
Yeah, well, they talked about already that they want to have like a modern matchmaking system. Like I don't know how it's gonna look, but like with leagues and such. And I think that's something that will encourage a lot of people to play, like keep grinding the ladder, which can seem rather pointless nowadays. So I think that will help a lot.
Yeah. Maybe take a piece of Starcraft's book, or take a page of Starcraft's book, and you have a ladder system, you have tiers, different leagues. The problem, I'm coming from a game that suffers from the exact same problem right now. Heroes of a Storm, Not many players are left playing it compared to a year ago or 2 years ago when Blizzard decided to cut eSports and everything. So oftentimes they can't do things for matchmaking because otherwise queues would take forever if they were super strict on that. I feel like it's the same reason for Warcraft 3 right now. You know, why we don't have, let's say, Gold League, Silver League, Bronze League, and all that stuff, because it would probably make matchmaking take so long. And but KnOfF, do you think with Reforged they can nicely reset the whole thing and just implement a new, nicer, more modern system?
Yeah, the reason why I'm laughing is because I got a text from a friend that he told me he made a new account on Battle.net and he played some gay guy. Sorry, that was called I Love Necropolis, and he said that he didn't want to play more Warcraft. It was his first game, and for you guys that know, this is happy. And I mean, if you haven't been playing Warcraft and you
he made a new account and played Happy?
Yes, the first game.
Oh my god!
And he told me, who is this guy? He had like 1,000 wins and 4 losses, and I was like, oh my god, you met one of the best players in the world, your first game, and he has been, inactive for 12 years or something.
Oh my god, that must have felt crushing. Oh,
yeah,
I got my first barracks up. Whoa, 2 heroes in my base.
So I mean, we need to find something here. Because I guess if you're a new player coming into Battle.net and you face some of the best first games, I don't know. I don't think it's fun. I mean, imagine if you're completely new and you're trying to know the game and you get smashed every game. That's gonna be kind of hard for you. So it's very important that they find something out. And since more people will start to play, at least what I think, it's gonna be easier to make some kind of matchmaking system.
Yeah.
But I guess right now it's good to have it the way it is. But hopefully they can find something out there.
What about custom games, guys? Look, I think that's something not many people are talking about in the whole discussion about Warcraft 3 Reforged. You know, custom games were a big part and still are of Warcraft 3. A lot of casual players, they play the game for casual games and not the actual main game, you know? Do you think we're gonna, or would you like to see something like that as well?
I mean, I think custom games are obviously a huge part of Warcraft and what it is and what, like, the legacy it has left on Warcraft. For me personally, I don't play custom games, so it's not a huge deal for me. But I know that when Reforged comes, we can be certain that a lot of the map creators will come and try to reinvent some of the genres and create new genres, hopefully, and make the old maps have a lot of tower defenses, make them work on Reforged. Yeah, I think it will be great, and that's also what will spring the player base and attract people to the game.
Yeah,
I can't wait for Dota 1 being remade and then take over all the other MOBAs again.
Yeah.
Or maybe we're going to have a better Heroes of the Storm in the Warcraft 3 custom game mode. Who knows?
Fingers crossed.
Fingers are crossed. That's for sure. We can probably say... so you guys both, just to conclude and summarize everything, you guys are mostly positive about the game, and you don't think skepticism or the fears are justified?
I think I can understand why people are worried. Of nature, I'm probably on the positive side, so I wouldn't say I'm afraid of it. Yeah. So I'm hopeful. Let's say that might be the word I'm looking for.
Final words for Reforged from Mr. KnOfF.
Yeah, me too. I'm really positive, and I hope it's going to be released because I'm going to DreamHack Winter this year. It's my first time in 11 years that I'm going. Would be super cool to make some huge Twitch stream with Reforged there. And hopefully a lot of people in Sweden, maybe even international, will come and watch. So yeah, it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah.
When is the event happening?
It's in the end of November.
Okay.
So I think it's 27 or something like that. I could check it out later.
Yeah, it might clash with the Reforged release. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
I'm calling it right now, man. I think you're going to be able to play it by then.
Woo!
I sound way too confident and trustworthy. I'm not a Blizzard employee. I don't have inside information or anything. I'm just calling it. I think People at BlizzCon will be very surprised to see, like, boom, game is out next week or something.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think the discussion about Warcraft 3 Reforged leads us to something that I think is very interesting to follow or talk about in general, and that is, the state of RTS real-time strategy games in 2019 and maybe the following year, 2020, which isn't actually too far away anymore. You have a lot of people online in the gaming community that like to say, oh, this game is dead, or this genre doesn't really kill it anymore. It's dead. It's dying. I think a lot of people like to throw these words out there. And as such, RTS is oftentimes being labeled dead genre or a dying genre. And I have to disagree on that one. I think, especially right now, I can basically just throw up some stats on Starcraft 2. You look at Starcraft 2, the stats you see there on eSports tournaments is insane. I can actually show that on stream too. I'm gonna drop the links of the sites that I'm using right now in chat, so you guys, KnOfF and Rehcram, can also check it out if you want to.
Yeah, nice.
Got the two links here in chat, and basically it's just a simple thing like compare BlizzCon WCS for StarCraft 2017 and compare it to the numbers of 2018. And I think I should be able to show that as well over here. Nope. Changed again. Let me just fix that real quick. But yeah, basically what I wanted to say is that the viewership has increased so much compared to only one year ago. There we go. Now you guys can see it. So,
It's like,
yeah, this is 2017. You look at the most important stats, which is peak viewers and hours watched. Average viewers is also nice to keep in mind. So 2017 was not really a successful one in terms of viewership for StarCraft 2. And that's, I think, when the whole thing started. Like, oh my God, StarCraft 2 is deader than ever before. So 36K average viewers. You have 103,000 peak viewers. So let's just keep those two in mind. Right? And you then go over to the new stats from last year, which is 176,000 peak viewers. So that's 70,000 more, a little bit more actually, and 56K average viewers. That is 20K more, more or less, than the previous year. And I'm watching a lot of StarCraft 2 esports myself. Only now did the GSL Korean Super Tournament conclude, and the dedication and I think the fan enthusiasm is pretty crazy. And I also think you guys probably can confirm that although not all things might be nice for Warcraft 3 right now, it's still like, it's still growing in a way, maybe not in terms of numbers like crazy, but more people showing long-time commitment again.
I actually think RTS games are a pretty good genre for like Twitch viewerships. Now, Warcraft wasn't really born in the era of like streams and such, but I think like you have the complete overview compared to a game like Counter-Strike, or you have the story arcs from single player in terms of like if you compare it to team games where it's harder to like follow one person or one like play style. So I think there's a lot of upsides to Warcraft and like RTS games. And of course, we have the Heroes, which is also like the MOBA, gene that's like follows through there. So I think there's a good chance for it being a popular streaming game. Of course, one of the problems is that it takes a lot of concentration when you are in a rough game. So it's probably hard for streamers to interact with your viewers. But that might be one of the negative sides compared to like AutoChess or Hearthstone or something like that.
I don't know how KnOfF does it, man. KnOfF, even when he's in the tightest of games, he always talks to the viewers or at least says something.
I'm trying to, but that's...
Dude, you're doing a really good job. I'm not kidding.
I'm trying to improve. I mean, that's what I'm... Grubby is a perfect example on that. He's... you can see how much time and practice he has put into this. It's really difficult, but yeah.
When Grubby opens his mouth, it's serious.
Yeah. He doesn't say much when it's a game he wants to win, but
Mhm.
when he's doing like a request or something, then he doesn't really care. Then he talks a lot. You can see the difference. And I guess it's the same with me.
Yeah, and so I think it's safe to say that Starcraft is doing well in terms of viewership, and it's doing better than before. With Warcraft, by the way, we have to say this as well. Shout outs to the guys from Back to Warcraft, who are the pillar of Warcraft 3 esports over the last years, and they've done such an outstanding job. And I think you can say that seeing them thrive and seeing their channel grow is kind of like the metaphor and the image of Warcraft 3 esports, kind of like getting a little bit more attention. It's not in global super major esports. Don't get me wrong, but maybe with Reforged, we can get some new players in there. We can get some new tournaments, and China alone, I think, is going to blast the esports really up high in the skies because the game will be so successful there. So shout outs to Back to Warcraft, keeping it real and raw with the esports. And I think, personally, you can sometimes see esports go full circle and then just disappear for a couple of years and come back stronger than before. Just think of Counter-Strike, right? 1.6 Counter-Strike was the biggest esports. Then came the time of MOBAs with League of Legends, Dota, and all that stuff. It kind of disappeared. And people were laughing about CS and saying it's never going to be big again. And now we have CSGO. When big tournaments go live there, it has... you play more CS than me, probably, KnOfF, so you maybe know that better. But 500K, more even, more views, it's crazy.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I do play some myself. It's a cool game to watch as well. But I don't know exactly the numbers, how it's looking like. But it's pretty cool to see how the professional teams, how they act and how they practice and all the sponsors around it. It's it has been kind of cool to watch that scene, how it has been growing a lot.
Yeah. So I think it's safe to be positive, about RTS as a genre. Not just real-time strategy games, by the way. I wanna mention that there were so many great strategy games coming out this year that, for example, we have Anno 1800. It's also a freaking classic, man, and it was the most sold Anno game of all time, if I remember correctly. I think strategy games as a whole are just such a treasure, and with people playing video games longer, earlier maybe at 30, there was an automatic switch that made people stop playing video games and say, oh, I'm too old for this crap right now. But I think these days it's not the case anymore. Like, you play video games until... I know I'm going to play video games when I'm in the 60s and 70s, retired in an elderly center with my buddies. I'm going to have a LAN there 24/7 and only interrupt for toilet breaks. I mean, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, I did listen to a podcast about this, and it's confirmed exactly what you are saying. It has been changing a lot. I mean, before it was more kids and maybe around 20 to 25 and even up to 30. But now they see that people from 30 years of age and older also keep playing, and they are true customers. They come back and
they got money too.
Yeah, exactly. So it's gonna be changing a lot, and we will see more older people coming into esports, and also that younger players will stay in the game. So that's really cool to see. And I mean, I'm 30 years of age now, and I will be playing my whole life. I'm pretty sure about that. Even though I want to play on the same level as I do now, but I will still be playing, of course.
Do you think esports athletes have advantages or disadvantages as they grow older? Because you don't have to move so much physically. It's more like a mental reaction kind of thing. And look at Moon, man. Still killing it.
Oh, that's a hard question. I guess there must be some kind of peak, where you can keep playing on a pretty high level, but I guess Moon is a player. I don't know. I guess it's a lot of experience that he takes advantage of when he's playing this game. And I mean, I can feel that I'm probably a smarter and better player now than I was back in the days.
Oh, I thought you said then Moon.
No. And it's the same for Moon. Maybe he doesn't have better micro, or he's not so fast in reacting, but his game reading, his decision making, his like sense of how the game is going and what to do in a certain situation is even better now. So yeah, it's like he always finds some kind of move to make, and you can see that when you watch Moon, because he has so many crazy stuff going on. He's an amazing player to watch. So, but yeah, I'm not sure on how much he's improving in like the micro and about the reactions. I think he will be slower, but still, because of the experience and his decision making, he will always be a very good player.
Do you think we're going to see the old elites such as Moon and other bigger names, TH, Infi, do well or maybe dominate in Reforged?
Oof, hard question. They will be, of course, really good, but it depends a lot on when the games come out. It's hard to say now, but of course they will have advantage since they have been playing this game for so long time. So it's gonna be hard to say.
Rehcram, maybe some final thoughts from you towards the whole RTS strategy games. What do those games mean to you, and what do you think about the genre and its state?
Well, obviously, I enjoyed the genre thoroughly. I love Warcraft. I think it's an amazing game. I think one of the problems we are facing, and one of the problems that we will face when new players come, is that the learning curve of the game is super steep.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, at least, so like when a
especially
new player
if
joins,
you want to get really good.
Yeah, if you want to play ladder and jump in and meet Happy as the first game,
Yeah,
that is tough. And I think we as a community, both us content creators, have to make borders for people to learn in and help them learn and be a welcoming community. I think that's one of the big parts of what we should do to make the game be big. So there's not only the responsibility for Blizzard to make a good game, but we also have to set the bar for how we want to teach people.
Preach it, brother. That's the most or one of the most important things by far. If you have a game as old and prestigious as Warcraft 3, I think for a lot of people to try it online in the ladder, there might be such a big barrier because they're like, oh my god, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be the biggest noob. So these players played it for 10 plus years and everyone is going to beat me. And I really think it's a wonderful thing you said there. Providing guides, providing platforms to communicate and exchange information, and just being nice in general, If you face someone on ladder after Reforged comes out and you beat them quite easily because they might be a new player, don't be like GG easy, Don't be that guy who, I mean, never be that guy, but just be a nice person online and try to welcome the influx of players that might be coming back or that might be trying out the game for the first time. I think that's very important. And I think that's something that strategy games have maybe an advantage over other games because the player base might be maybe a little bit older than, let's say, you play Fortnite, where you probably couldn't expect the same things from the majority of the player base. So I think that's a really nice point to say, to bring that the players, the community oftentimes has a duty as well, not just Blizzard, lol. So,
yeah.
Anything to add about any of the topics we talked about, guys? I think we're reaching an hour, almost an hour, and anything to say about strategy games, Warcraft 3 Reforged, Fight Night, anything else?
No, I'm looking forward to everything Reforged and the new Fight Night, and it's gonna be great.
Who do you think
Good
is going to win
things are
Fight Night? Give us some predictions.
I think Death Note will take it 3-1.
Whoa!
Ooh.
Did you hear that, Neutron? Whew.
I'm gonna bet against that. I say 3-1 to Neutron then.
Okay. Oh man, I can't say anything. I'll be a caster. I don't want to get biased. I think no matter who wins, though, it's going to be great. We either have the Emperor Neutron sitting on his legacy on the throne a little bit longer, or we have Death Note the Kingslayer, who's going to take it and bring the humans on the throne for the first time. Wait, so we never had an undead, and we never had... Oh, no, that's true. Enta was there, so we never had a human champion. Everything else was a champion before. Yep.
Human is underpowered. We need buffs, please.
No.
Todd is
No
definitely going to have an
No.
epiphany right now and say, yes, Rehcram, that man needs to be in charge.
Hire me, Blizzard.
Forsign, he actually said that human is too strong right now.
Thorzine
like-
said that?
Yeah, he told me like I
Wow.
have been practicing against Happy and I still took 2 maps out of him. I mean, that must say something.
Good guy, Thorzine. All right, guys. So we're reaching the 1 hour mark. It's been an absolute pleasure to welcome you on Twitch chat. We're gonna be looking forward to see you guys in the YouTube comments, or if you download the audio file on whatever platform you choose. Thanks so much for listening, watching, and the next episode of Fast Expand will be coming to you in 2 weeks from now. We're always gonna have an alternating rotation now between Fight Night. Hey, there we go. Easy.
Easy for Knopf.
Well, can I ask you one last thing? Why did you choose the name Fast Expand for the podcast? Is there any reason for it, or?
I was looking desperately for cool-sounding Warcraft 3 terms. I didn't really find any, although now in hindsight I could have named it Easy KnOfF Podcast. That would have been... No, I think it sounded cool, Fast Expand. It's quick and easy, and most people hopefully know what it is or can relate it to a strategy game. So yeah, that's it. But yeah, guys, final words from our wonderful co-host Rehcram, and then we're going to conclude with the very final words from KnOfF, and then we're going to send you off. Rehcram, man, thanks for coming. Thanks for being there, and shoot it out right there.
Yeah, my pleasure. I hope everyone enjoyed it. For me, it's really nice to have podcasts go through the scene. We have Neo made a few podcasts like 2 years ago, and it was nice for me to listen at work and like driving to work. So
yes,
I'm excited for a new media being in the scene, and I hope people will welcome it.
Yeah, I mean, as I said earlier, I'm super happy that I got the opportunity to play in Fight Night, and I believe this kind of matches and tournaments is gonna be what makes Warcraft special, and will makes it continue to grow. And looking forward for the future, and also that it's gonna be great. Looking forward to everything. Reforged. Yeah.
There we go. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for watching and listening. Now, there's only one thing left to do, and that is use your Twitch Prime on KnOfF_Sui. Just do it. You'll not regret it. I'm actually going to do it when my Twitch Prime is ready, which I think should be by now. So, are you streaming tomorrow, KnOfF?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it. Around 19 CET. Yes, let's say 19.
Great. All right, guys, take care and see you next time on Fast Expand in 2 weeks from now. Thanks for watching.